Sup, my Yu-Gi-Oh nerds, Waffles here, and today I'm going to talk about the ban list because that's what everyone's talking about. And the weird thing with this ban list is it's universally liked. Like, the majority of people really like this list, and you don't see that a lot. There's a couple cards people are like, oh, okay, I wish they wouldn't have hit that, or, this one should have been a, 1 instead of 2, or 3 instead of 2. But majority of people are like, yeah, like this list was needed. This list was awesome. And I'm a fan because it hits my deck, but I am still able to play. And because like the most mind-boggling thing about this list, and again, like why people really like it, I think, Fiendsmith, not touched. Not a single card, Fiendsmith. And it is so crazy because the cards that were for sure going to get hit or for sure limited, anything was going to be the Fiendsmith cards because those are one have been around the longest and those turned decks from like mediocre decks to good decks. So like for sure those were going to get hit and they didn't. And I, for one, I like it. I like it a lot. That's one of my favorite engines in a long time. So the Unlimited, Cyberjar, like, is it going to do anything? Probably not. The Dangers come into 3, they're not, I don't know. You're going to see them played, but they're not going to be in decks that you have to worry about. Like, I don't know, I can see these being summoned for, almost like for link fodder, really. I don't think they're really going to be doing a whole lot. Eva, the card got banned when Drytron was a thing, but you only played one of anyways, so it coming to 3 is meh. Monkey Board, this one I've heard a lot about without actually playing any of the formats myself. Again, I don't think it's going to do anything, but, again, you might see it played. I don't know. I wasn't super, big on that format, so I couldn't tell you. The semi-limited, this is where all the crazy stuff happened. This is where the meat of this ban list is. And what we got here? The black and white dragons coming to 2. Dragon Link, that's going to be a thing. Well, Dragon Link's going to play. I'm not sure if it's going to make that deck a whole lot more better, because it was already super consistent before. But with the other hit, Drew a Swarm going to 1, I don't think that's going to be a huge difference on the Dragon Link plays, really, but the black and white coming to 2, I think you're going to see a lot of those. Dragon Link is a very popular deck, and those cards are great for that deck, solely for that deck. So I think, I think that was a good one coming to 2, because they're at 1, and Dragon Link, it's not doing anything, really. As Bestial Link, really. Poplar and Ash coming to 2, Origin is still banned, and that was the card that made those cards good. So those really could have came to 3, and I don't think Snake Eyes would make a big comeback. Origin is really what kept that deck topping for so long. Actually being just the main powerhouse. As without that, you can kind of do the Snake Eyes plays, but if you get hit, then you're done. There wasn't a whole lot of oh, okay, well, now I'm going to hit Origin, and then I'm going to go into this line, and then, you can still do, the Azamina stuff, but Beatrice gone. Like I said, you can still kind of get the board, but it's no longer that, okay, I'm just going to win because I'm playing this, and I can play through 100, hand traps. You can still make the boards, but it's just definitely not as strong, definitely not as foolproof. So I'm not worried about that. Again, those could have came to 3 and nothing would have happened. Shavara coming back to 2. That's a big one. Everyone's Unchained, yeah, well, Unchained's coming back, but what Unchained did is basically what the Fiendsmith engine did, plus a little bit. So Shavara getting to 2, that's all you need. You only needed 2. Right? People played 3 because it was more consistent, but you needed 2 for that deck to be super competitive. And like I said, I don't think it's going to be super competitive now because of all the other cards, like Ryzeal and Malice and stuff, really they're just better at this point. So even if it came to 3, I don't think Unchained would be crazy unfair. But an Unchained Fiendsmith, because they didn't get hit, I think that has a lot of possibilities of just being a really strong board to try to break through. Because then you can still make the Caesar with one of the engines and then go into Desiree with the other engines and end on, Blue Dog. So then you have a steel. So like, it'll be seen. I don't think it's going to be a tier 1 deck, but I think coming to 2 is going to make it a good rogue deck. Now the big ones are the Ryziels. All the Ryziels are to 2, and the good Malice are 2. The Dormouse and Rabbit hit to 2. That's just a big consistency hit. So like, so sword is a 2, but unless you played pure, you only played 2 sword anyways. So I'm not super worried about it. And sword was a weird hit, but again, like, it's nothing terrible. So the one that made this bad, is we're going to go into the limited now, is Bonfire to 1, which like it kind of needed. It really kind of needed it. Like, it hurts my deck, but I'm not bleh about it, But so that is going to hurt the consistency, but then you just play Tachyon. And so you basically have room for your Tachyon searches now anyways, because Detonator's at 1, which, that was a weird one to me. Like, I don't know, Detonator is one of those cards you have to deal with, but it's not like you have to dump your entire board to deal with it, right? You can usually out it, like, you have to deal with it, right? But it's not game ending. They end on Detonators, like, okay, that's gonna be a pain in the ass, but I can do this. It was all the other stuff. And then like Druiswarm, I kind of wish I'd see Magnamut 0 and Druiswarm 1, but I don't know. I like the Ryziel, not the Ryziels. I like the Bystials, so like I'm glad they're not gone, but I'm glad they're under control. Because like Baldrake, people are going to be playing more Baldrakes now, and that one is like the lesser of them, so like it's get easier to deal with. So like, it's good, but I could have been better, I guess. Like I said, I'm not going to be mad. Circular to 1, that one's crazy. That card is, if there's a custom card, it's circular. There's a reason that one got banned pretty quick. But being at 1, I don't think we're going to see lots of like Math Mech topping, but I think this ban list, because I've said it a bunch already, is we're going to see a lot more rogue decks topping, and it's not going to be like a single one, unless I'm missing something. I could probably be missing something. I don't know. I'm not the best at all the older cards. I'm just more current meta is my realm of knowledge. So maybe like there will be some crazy stuff popping up, like a Math Mech Ryziel or something. I don't know. But coming back to 1, I think that's going to revive the deck. But again, it's not going to, I don't think we're going to be seeing it. How crazy the card is. Like if that came back to like 3, yeah, I could see Math Mech being a super contender, especially with some of the new end cards, end board stuff. This one is the only one that I'm like mad about, and it's not even like a big mad, but Crossout. I was maining Crossout because that just helped you play through like everything, because you didn't have to worry about playing through stuff strategically. Is you had the Crossouts to help with that, and then if you didn't see it, then you had to play through it strategically. So I think it just made piloting decks easier. So like, I don't know. I thought it was a fair card. Konami disagrees. Like, I definitely got mad when, I was playing and I got cross-outed and stuff. But, like, this format's going to be really hand trap heavy, and this was, like, a way of dealing with hand traps. So now it's I almost feel like it's going to be going back to a battle of hand traps. Who's got the most hand traps? Who's got the best hand traps to deal with stuff? Because it's harder to play through them now. Talents getting limited to 1. Like, okay, I played 1 anyways. A lot of people played, 3, and the right call for some decks, but now you're just going to be playing the thrusts to get to it. And someone brought this up, and I think it's a good point why it got hit, is hand traps are interactive, but when you have the talents to steal and look at your opponent's hand, do whatever you need to do. You're basically saying, okay, your hand trap to try and stop me is now in my favor. And I guess that's not really like a good thing, really. Because then if you have, 3 of those, anytime your opponent tries to do something, then it's just like, oh, okay, well, that's going to benefit me now anyways. So it made things less interactive in the sense that, like, okay, I'm going to try to interact with your board, but it's not going to do anything. And that was the huge thing with Snake Eyes format was no matter what I do, unless I have 5 hand traps, I'm not doing enough. And that's how Talents feels. But again, like, you're just going to play the thrust to get to the Talents. So I don't think it's a crazy hit. You're just going to play more thrusts now. Now for the band, this one surprised me. Link Decoder? I did not think Link Decoder was going to get hit. Like, it basically, that and Griffin being hit, I think Griffin, that needed it. This deck abused Griffin so hard, basically making a Griffin in the middle of your zone, so it didn't touch anything except for your cards. Again, it wasn't anything horrible, but just a floodgate that was just, I don't know, it needed gone. But then the Link Decoder, kind of stopping the Link climbs as easy. So I think, like I said before, I think people are just going to be playing more Baldrakes, because that was a big combo I noticed, is you could basically get to the same end board as long as you had a Bestial in hand. And, then if you had the Bestial and Link Decoder, you could just do some wacky shit. So I don't think it's going to affect the end boards a whole lot. I think you're basically just going to go back to seeing Firewall Pass instead of, Bow Griffin. So that's good, because Malice was already a deck that was just a pain. It still is just a pain in the ass to deal with. Bahamut Shark hitting hit. I think this is one of those Konami's hitting the card that gets you the problem card. But at the same time, there's like Toad. Toad's the problem. Toad is the problem. But Bahamut Shark made Toad the problem, right? Because like Ryzeal could go full combo and end on a Toad. That was just even more bonkers and did not need to happen. But then, like Bahamut Shark wasn't a problem. It was getting the Toad, but there's not an easy way to make Toad. So like, I think they could have just hit the Toad anyways, because no one's making the Toad. So then, like, Bahamut Shark could still do a thing, just not making Toad. Like, I don't know what you'd make off of it anyways, but, like, Toad's the problem, so they're hitting the thing that made the problem, but just get rid of the problem, because you can only make the Toad with that now anyways in meta. So, like, some people might find janky ways, well, not even janky, just ways of making Toad normally, but those decks aren't good. So, like, Toad might help those decks. But, like, I don't know. I think it was just a weird hit. Beast Dweller, needed hit. And like I said, like, Ryzeal plays this, so now you can just play the Tachyon Searchers instead of the Abyss Dwellers. It needed hit just for the fact that we're going to see more rogue decks around, because Abyss would just poo-poo on anything graveyard-based. And the current meta, there wasn't a whole lot of graveyard interactions anyways. There was some, which why you played it, but then like decks like Unchained and stuff like that needed graveyard effects to go off. Like lots of rogue decks that needed the graveyard effect to go off, now they can actually play. Because it was so easy to make Dweller, and if you know your opponent, oh, I just gotta make Dweller and I win, there's no longer that. So I think this ban list, like I said, it's weird because I think it's universally liked. And basically now I just got to figure out a way to make my deck play with all these changes and not lose to Droll horribly. That is my big prediction is, well, majority of people already main Droll, but now even the rogue decks and stuff are going to main Droll. Because now basically the big bad deck, the Ryzeal, Droll, unless you're playing Fiendsmith, which didn't get hit, so a lot of people are, like, you will stop off all of the Ryzeal stuff, and they might have a little Fiendsmith board, is basically what we're going to get to under Droll. So that's why Mad Crossout got hit, because, like, that was the way of dealing with Droll, because it's almost a turn skip now. Lancia not getting hit, oh my god, that made me feel so good. I was really fearing they were going to hit Lancia, because everyone's playing Lancia, and it's a turn skip for Malice. So it's like, why play Malice if there's turn skips? But Malice is still just such a high ceiling deck that, like, if you don't get turn skipped, like, you are going to end on some bonkers stuff. So I think this ban list really just kind of reeled in the decks for a couple weeks, because then we're going to get the new set, and Ryzeal gets a new name, Malice gets a new name. So we're going to see how that plays into all this, but I think reining it in with those extra deck hits is going to make it to where these decks don't just Snake Eyes it or tier element it, to where it's like, oh, okay, we're hitting this, but we're giving you all this better support anyways. And then we're going to hit that, but then we're going to give you better support anyways. So our tier was just dominating for so long because, like, oh, we're going to get rid of these things that you used as extenders, but we're going to give you better extenders. So overall, great list. Shifter going to 1. Oh, man. Shifter, I have a love-hate relationship with. Some decks, like, are unplayable. And if you put a Shifter into it, then it can compete. And I'm okay with it in that sense. But then Malice playing Shifter, which some decks did, some decks didn't. But just seeing the Shifter is just like, okay. I know your end board isn't going to be as great as it could be, but now I can't really play my deck, so yay. Which is what I was thinking they were going to hit the Lancias. But overall, again, I'd give this like a 9 out of 10 list just because they took out Crossout. And if they even like semi-limited Crossout, I would give this a 10 out of 10. But 9 out of 10 ban list. Hopefully my deck's still playable. Like I said, I have all these ideas in my head. They're like, okay, well, basically I'm going to be down like 5% on my drawing. But Droll is going to be a lot more problematic. So we'll see you at the next regional. So, hey, thanks for watching.